Atlanta didn't become powerful by accident. It built strong black colleges, strong black businesses, strong black leadership. It created networks, not just neighborhoods. From music to tech to real estate, Atlanta showed what happens when ownership meets opportunity. It's not just a city, it's a blueprint. Study it, copy it, build your own. In this clip, Wall Street Trapper breaks down some significant information about where Atlanta got their structure on building from. Let's check this out.
So I always said that like New Orleans has like culture, right? New Orleans has culture. Now, again, I love my city. I love my city. And New Orleans is definitely a historic place. A lot happened in New Orleans, coming off those ports and stuff like that. But here's what I will say about Atlanta that I do respect about them. I heard Killer Mike say this one time and I was like, damn, bro, he ain't lying. When you think about like what Atlanta represented at one point in time, and I'm not saying it doesn't represent it right now, but like in New Orleans, like we didn't really get to see black excellence at a high level a lot. You feel what I'm saying? It's like we didn't get to see it a lot, at least when I was coming up, you know what I'm saying? But like in Atlanta, what I will say is like when I look back at like their history, they always had like this thriving middle class that was setting like these standards for Black America. Like, I will say that. Now, again, New Orleans has the culture. Culturally, I think, in my personal opinion, New Orleans is probably the richest cultural city in America. Just from my personal experience. I think Oakland is built like that too, but I think they kind of got away from it, but they still is there. Panthers, you know, I love that. I still think that New Orleans is the most cultural city in America. I could be being biased, but I know that, and the reason why I say is because there's not a lot of people that come to New Orleans to live, and there's not a lot of people that leave New Orleans. So the culture becomes generational. So we do the same things over and 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 over. We just keep doing it. What I will say about it, a lot of people come to Atlanta. They come for better opportunities and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's not taken away from, I'm not set tripping. So don't go to saying like, no man, there's not. I'm not set tripping. I'm just saying I feel like that. And if your country, where you from is like that, salute to that, because we need more cities that anchor to their culture, right? I will say, like, you go to New Orleans, second line season is a thing. Sundays, second line season, everybody out, right? Parades, yes. Mardi Gras, yes. Food, yes. Jazz, yes. Art, yes. Culturally, New Orleans is just, the culture doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't change. And so, but at the same time, and again, I'm not taking nothing away, but like we didn't get to see, from my perspective growing up, we didn't get to see a lot of like black excellence explode. And I will say like Atlanta kept that for a very long time. Even though times change, like you still saw like, you know, their airport is named after a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like damn, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And they got to see like they can like birthplace. Like don't get me wrong, like we got Louis Armstrong, we got Mahalia Jackson, we got prominent figures. So our culture is still there. But when it came to like that entrepreneurship spirit, like Atlanta just started like stacking up on us, like boom, like on everybody. And I think that's good that they had that, because other black cities got an opportunity to say, hey, that's it. That's the beacon of light. So when you had the Rosewoods and you had the black Wall Streets and you had that, like Atlanta still, and PG County, you know what I'm saying? That you still you got to see those prominent black communities say, hey, we're the standard. And I don't think it came from a place of I want to be better than y'all. I think in this area, we made that. But I think from those eras, it was, hey, y'all, here's something you can mock. Here's a blueprint, right? And I think when I look at that, I'll be like, bro, I love it. I'm like, yo, that's real dope. Like, and I always say to myself, I wish I can go back to a time where you can see. That's why I love looking at these old movies. I wish more people would create the old movies so that we can see bugging the F out. Who bugging out, fam? Who's bugging out? I wish that Harlem, for sure. Harlem, yeah, for sure. Definitely will give that. And again, I'm not taking away from no area. And I don't know why we so defensive when you say that. Like, I'm not taking away from nobody. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not more culture than NYC, stop it, trap. Here we go, trying to make it, that's what we do. That's what we do. I clearly said I'm not taking nothing from nobody. I said from me, and here we go. Y'all not culture than this. That's what we do. That shows that we ain't got no growth. It shows that we don't got the growth, bro. That's exactly, I specifically said I'm not taking nothing from nobody. I said, I'm truly saying, like, culture, this is how I feel, but not taking nothing from nobody. And what's the first thing we do? That's what we do. It's what we do. It's literally what we do. We don't know how to say that. Instead of being like, nah, hey, Trap, we got that culture. Harlem, be like, oh yeah, Harlem Renaissance, da 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 da. Like, yeah, that's it. I like that. Yeah, because now it brings me back to Malcolm X. Harlem Renaissance. This one, the train, the dudes on the train, like, oh, immediately the first thing we do is, you ain't got more culture than me. No, y'all don't, Trap. You tripping. Clearly, we don't listen. Clearly, we don't listen. That's it's what we do. It's what we do. So that's what I love about that, man. I love the fact that that Atlanta get to see that. You know what I'm saying? I love that they had that and see that. And I think that was the thing for me coming from New Orleans, like, when I came to Atlanta, it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, damn. Because I remember, like, being in New Orleans, you be feeling trapped for a second, like, damn, like. And then the South, and another thing too, like, the South is like, people who I know from, like, the East Coast, and the West Coast, racism was different, even though internally it was the same, but it was different from every, like, you gotta remember in the South, you talking Jim Crow South. You know what I'm saying? And so I think when you see places like Atlanta, you just be like, damn, that's hard. You know what I'm saying? Because this, like, yo, here's the beacon of light. Again, if you're in New York, you like the Harlem Renaissance, that's a whole thing. Chicago, a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? On the West Coast, Oakland, same thing, right? You had it, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kansas, you had it in Florida, that Roswell, you had it so many different things. But I just love that, man. I love that about Atlanta, to see that, and I think that was one of the things that they try. And when I heard Killer Mike say it, I was like, damn, they have that pedigree. I don't know if I can't say they still have. I'm not saying they don't still have, but not when so many people come in, you start taking away from it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because then the standard isn't the same from those people, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's roll that tape, man. Let's roll that tape.
The Sweet Auburn Historic District stretches over 1.5 miles through downtown Atlanta. Originally known as Shermantown following the Civil War Union occupation in the 19th century, Sweet Auburn began to thrive as the heart of Black professional, social, and political life in Atlanta. Atlanta Life Insurance Company, founded in 1905, is the first Black-owned life insurance company in Atlanta. owned by Alonzo Hernan, a former slave, Atlanta Life Insurance served as one of the strongest Black financial institutions throughout the 20th century. At 148 Auburn Avenue, you can still find the Atlanta Life Building, the original home of the company. The Atlanta Daily World, founded in 1928, is the first Black-owned daily newspaper in Atlanta, serving as a much-needed voice for Blacks in Atlanta. The newspaper covered political and social topics impacting citizens, while still remaining a community staple featuring local stories and news updates. Based in the heart of the Sweet Auburn district at 145 Auburn Avenue, the Atlanta Daily World's courageous contribution to the Black community of Atlanta lives on. Big Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church was founded in 1847 and is the oldest Black congregation in Atlanta. It served as a pillar in the Black community of Atlanta for nearly 2 centuries, from hosting the first classes of Morris Brown College in its basement to serving as the first public school for Blacks in Atlanta. WERD Radio first hit airways in 1949 after owner Jesse Blayton Sr. bought the station and reimagined its programming, becoming a staple in Atlanta's Black community. Housed in the Prince Hall Grand Lodge on Auburn Avenue, WERD Radio not only served as a leader in the Black entertainment, but also Black political progression as it broadcasts Dr. Martin Luther King's Sunday morning sermons and announcements of civil engagement and protest. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, in the heart of the Sweet Auburn district at 501 Auburn Avenue. Dr. King's childhood home is just a short walk from the famous Ebenezer Baptist Church, where both Martin Luther King Sr. and Martin Luther King Jr. share the pulpit, bringing about hope and change for all American citizens. However, King's ties to the Sweet Auburn district doesn't stop there. As the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, King worked tirelessly planning countless social campaigns within the headquarters located within the Prince Hall Masonic Temple at 330 Auburn Avenue. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. greatly benefited from the vital location of the Sweet Auburn district and its development as an essential portion of Black life in Atlanta. Throughout its history, the Sweet Auburn district has served as a hub for political and social organizations within the Black community of Atlanta. Due to the concentration of churches, businesses, political organizations, and educational institutions present within the short 1.5 miles of Auburn Avenue, a history of unprecedented growth and advancement within the Black community can never be forgotten.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing.